Hello, everybody, and welcome to Music Industry Insights Worldwide. Today, we've got such amazing guests with us. Stathis, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Nice to be on the podcast.
It's such a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming along, sharing your story, your views, your expertise with the listeners. Do you want to tell a little bit more about where you're from, what you do, and a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, well, I hail from Greece, originally from a small city called Volos, but I've spent most of my adult life in Athens.
Okay.
I've been like a lifelong fanatic of music. Like I grew up with pirate radio stations in a very small city, as I mentioned, and kind of like the early breakbeat drum and bass jungle era.
Okay.
That's kind of like set up my overall aesthetic, musically speaking, in a way. And then like I moved to Athens in 1998 for university studies,
Wow.
also with a goal to finally embrace the scene that I could not participate in from such a small city. So yes, I like immediately, well, almost immediately made like-minded friends in the university. We started going out, like raving.
Of course,
I
as
always like the music bug,
well.
and then like we started DJing, and like the whole thing unfolded like very organically, and also I don't know, luckily in a way, like
Of
we
course,
just
it's part of it, right? But did you have an education? What brought you into music in the first place?
no, I mean, I was not musically trained. I still aren't. I'm like self-taught.
Okay.
I studied political science and history, like nothing like it.
I love history.
Me too.
Oh, you
And somehow, even though I was, yeah, and somehow, even though I was not like, that was not my primary focus, like career-wise. The university that I attended was kind of like a home base for a lot of music-oriented people. So like, I found my tribe there, and everybody was there for like different reasons. But we all started like throwing like little mobile parties. Um, at first at the university, which started like really blowing up.
okay.
And then we decided to like do like a mobile, like kind of like mobile team in a way with like a small collective, like as you would say now, but
Awesome.
not the sort of term you would use in 2001.
Yeah.
uh, and yes, we started like DJing from like very small venues in Athens to gradually pretty much every major club there was at the time.
I love Athens as well. I love Greece. I've always loved Greece. It's a very ancient civilization. I've always had much respect for you guys. Now, you've been in the music industry for over 2 decades, especially in the Greek electronic music scene. How has your understanding of energy in the dance floor evolved over time?
Ooh, good question. Right now, I'm in the old man yelling at the clouds kind of phase of my life, like having been like having raved a lot, having like really rinsed, dance floors both as a dancer and also as like a DJ.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a very different energy
to it as well.
between like 20 years ago and what I perceive as like clubbing these days. I still go out. I I feel like things have changed dramatically after the pandemic. There's a shift in the younger generation and how they perceive clubbing. Um, I feel like there's storytelling which is missing, like
Absolutely.
the beginning, the middle, and the end of a night. Like what do warm-up DJs provide? Like setting up the pace that almost doesn't exist anymore. In younger, at least in younger generations, it's kind of like guns blazing from like the first moment.
Yeah, yeah.
So somehow I feel people got trained during the pandemic to go like to be like instantly instantly pleased because for like a year and a half everybody was locked in kind of like consuming audiovisual content music wise, like
Yes.
with all those live
Very
streams and
short content.
yeah, so people didn't really go out and the younger generation didn't train themselves in actually going to a club.
Yeah,
So I feel like they don't know how to react anymore in that kind of scenario, or maybe the way I am used to it.
of course.
Uh,
We're lacking authenticity in that. That what's missing, and the soul, the originality.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they lack authenticity. I mean, they do have their own, like, there's a certain new aesthetic, which maybe I can't grasp it, or but people my age can't. And probably the same applied with me back then for older people.
Yes.
So I can't be that judgmental. It's just like there's a lack of empathy with what I'm used to and what I am perceiving these days as like entertainment in a way. Like people are not dancing, like there's a lot of cell phone action involved. There's a lot of like there's like ADHD even on the dance floor. People sometimes don't even know what to do over there.
It's on the dance floor. Everyone's got some kind of need, right?
Yeah. So like the ritual feels a little bit lost
Okay.
to
That's
me.
really important, actually. And you describe your work as a balancing raw energy, you know, hypnotism, storytelling, and raw energy. So, how do you approach building that narrative and within a DJ set and production that you do?
Um, Patiently, I would say. Like I always liked, and I still like playing like very diverse sets
Good.
where you grab people from a specific point, and then if all the cards fall properly on the table, you can take them throughout an entire journey, which is harder these days with like all these slots, like shorter slots that everybody is playing. So people are forced to just like play bangers because that's what it is. Like that's the landscape that we're facing right now. Whereas DJ sets used to be longer
Hmm.
for sure. I mean, they still are in some venues, but like in the majority, I would say like everybody gets like a 90 minutes, 120-minute slot, and that's it. And even then, I mean, you can do like ambitious sets, but but actually building that storytelling involves more risks
Takes time as
than having like a 4 hour set when you can really take people on a journey.
yes.
Um, but also being able to take those risks.
Of course.
Um, and
Being
at
able
least
to take
at
those risks.
least I feel like older DJs somehow are more prone to take those risks because
Okay.
they have like they have trained themselves with somehow doing this like zigzagging.
South. Yeah, because they know their South, I think, a little bit more. They're more confident, maybe.
Yes, and also maybe they can read the crowd a little bit better.
Yes.
But again, it depends on who you're speaking to and who you're playing to. Because if you come like from an older scene and then everybody is like 20, 25 years old, there is like a language gap there.
An age
And
gap
you have
as
to,
well, right?
sorry?
Because I've got children. Most of my
Mhm.
children are in their 20s. I'm in my 40s now.
Yeah.
So understanding what those younger generations love, what they like, what they appreciate, there is an age gap. And it's understanding what the new generations are accepting, what they want as well, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it's way harder to just playing like at a crowd which is uniformly that age. Like it's much easier where it's like a mix and match between like generations because then people can carry the others with them and that works both directions.
Yeah.
And it's much easier to kind of like build a story.
Mm.
If people are set on their ways and expect like a very specific thing and that's it, then you're in trouble, or
But
you
you're
have to.
a bridge, right? You're a bridge to that connection, aren't you? You're
Yeah.
bringing people together. You're that unifier through the
Yeah,
music.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully, yes. I mean, when it clicks, it's really wonderful. It's really special. Like you get goosebumps just like by pulling it off, and then you really become one. If it doesn't, you have to have like the mental capacity to take like curveballs and bring it back to where it works, and hopefully you have saved it on time.
Tell me about it, because I think that's the difficult part of it, isn't it? We all make mistakes, and sometimes it's not our own fault. Sometimes there's also people out there to sabotage. It can be very competitive. How do you deal with that, and how have you navigated that in the last 20 years?
I don't know. I have to say that in my case, I have been laser focused in what I always wanted to do and take the gambles that I felt made sense.
Yes.
They didn't always pay off, but at least the name that I made for myself, whatever that was exactly of that kind of persona that if you go and check him out, things are going to be wild, and there are going to be a lot of curveballs left and right, and surprises essentially. So I always tried to like differentiate myself from what's the prevalent, like, style of the era, especially when your collection grows older and older, then you can dig deeper into stuff that other people don't have access to, and essentially find the tunes that inspired the rehashes of certain styles that are happening now. You can actually go to the source, and people don't have the same access to that. So that's when you can really like surprise the crowd.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's a matter of actually either being old enough to have like the record collection of that sort,
Right.
or to really immerse yourself into digging.
Yes.
Of course, there are also younger DJs that like spend a lot of hours every week just like digging for these gems, and they have excellent taste as well. So like they can realize what was the spark
Of
for every genre.
of course. And I think, Berlin has also played a massive part in your career. Tell me, how did Berlin, because I love Berlin, it's great, it's very electronic music based. How has that really shaped your career into who you are today?
Um, I mean, I used to go and play in Berlin before I moved there
Okay.
already, because the first releases I did were in Berlin-based labels, so I already played showcases, uh, and I got the first sense of like the like mid zeros Berlin, which was still very, very authentic.
I'm Fred.
Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, mind blowing in comparison to Athens at the time, of course, but also it was a vibe. Like it was an absolute vibe. Even comparing it to Berlin now, it's two different cities.
It is. No, yeah.
It really is. So like the first times I went there, I remember that when and DJed, I had the time of my life. And when I came back home and I spoke to my parents, they were like, "So how was that?" And I was like, "I'm going to live there at some point." And they were like, "That
Yeah.
great?" Was like, "Yes, it's that great. I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna live there." And then that thankfully happened in 2013,
Wow.
when I joined Red Bull Music Academy and like the team there.
Yes.
Um, and it was a great timing for me because I had also honed my production skills to a level where I felt they could match my DJ skills, which were always better.
Yes.
So I arrived at a good moment in my career where I could do both and also like essentially work a dream job.
And let me tell you,
Uh,
Red Bull is one of my biggest products that I buy. I'm vodka Red Bull girl all the time. That's all I drink. So I do love Red Bull. And I just want to say, like, being part of the Red Bull Academy is absolutely awesome. I remember I used to live in Oxford. We used to have the cars driving around the streets, the little minis. Oh, they were like Volkswagens actually, with a big can hanging out the back.
yeah,
And they used to go around promoting. So it was so cool. So how was that academy? You worked across 30 plus different countries. How has that global exposure helped you today in who you are and that exposure that you've had?
I mean, it was a mind-blowing experience for me because all of a sudden, like the world opened up. Up until that moment, I mean, I had, my background in the Athenian scene and then my glimpses in DJing abroad, but that was just like one-off trips. Actually, moving to Berlin for RBMA and then all of a sudden being responsible for so many countries and starting to educate myself in those specific scenes was a tremendous source of inspiration. Like I saw how different countries reinterpreted essentially the same sounds,
Cultures and stuff.
and at the same time also discovered genres and artists that I had never heard of before. So like there was a lot of research involved, which was eye-opening, and it really helped me grow my, especially like also my identity into even wilder territories of trying to include even more things.
Yeah.
That was like a double-edged sword in a way because it affected me for a while a little bit too much. you know there was way too much stimuli coming in. At some point I filtered that, but the chance to like travel the world, meet so many wonderful people, also like from the local like Red Bull culture teams, but also all of the artists and designers that were involved in the events that I put together was, yeah, life changing.
Well done. And obviously going from Athens to Germany, What was that like, and what's the differences in the music industries? Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
I mean, first of all, I would say I went from Athens to Berlin, and Berlin is not exactly Germany. So it operates by its own rules, I would say, because I have played a lot of German cities,
Yes.
and some of them are really great, but also the scenes are still quite different. Uh, so Berlin has its own ecosystem, which is especially
Unique.
before the pandemic, which was very welcoming and very community driven. You know, there was like an energy that the city is like together. Like you would go out, there were so many fantastic events.
Yeah.
Also, it was like a destination city, of course. So like so many people from around the world were traveling there, fueling the music industry. Because primarily these were the so-called like EasyJet tourists that they would fly in for a week, rave, go back home,
Fine. Go home.
and repeat. Um, so yes, like I was open to so many different sources of like music input. It has a very diverse scene in general, and it played by its own rules, the non-gentrified ones.
Cool.
Sadly, things have changed a lot after the pandemic.
Yeah.
So now I would say like the city, at least to me, it feels like it's been, I don't know, it's becoming cleaner in a way. And the edges are being rounded up a little bit.
Bit more
Um,
or a bit more copied. Because when I say authenticity, and this is what I mean, is staying true to yourself. And like you said earlier with the failures and successes, is following your heart. Do you think some people are doing certain things because they want to be part of a trend? Because I think music does do that sometimes, right?
yeah, I mean, music is like you become like your own persona in a way, and at some point it depends on what that persona traits look like.
Yes.
Right now, it feels very uniform,
Yeah.
even even in Berlin. There are some. I mean, still, it's a white canvas, and there's a lot of things happening left and right. But what's now mainstream is pretty much like one specific style that is repeated everywhere
Yes.
with certain layers of success.
Yeah.
And it became more about actually having that visual identity first,
Mhm.
and then actually about the music. Um,
That's interesting.
so even like prevalent venues have definitely been affected by the way that people approach them now. It's like you have to look a certain way, you have to like, whereas in the past it was all about inclusivity and authenticity, as you've said, like you wanted the weird off-kilter people arriving at the door,
Yeah.
and now it feels like that's less
It's
prevalent.
been watered down a little bit.
Yeah,
Absolutely
yeah.
agree with you on that one. And obviously, you've had metamorphosis that felt like a turning point, in your career. How has that led to your vision, your story, who you are now as an artist and a DJ?
I mean, Metamorphose was my first, like my debut album.
Yes.
Um, it was also the first time that it was the culmination of all these influences that I mentioned earlier from all over the world. So it was my way of experimenting with different genres within like the electronic world and not stay strictly like dance floor oriented.
Right.
Um, I also got to work with like really lovely people, collaborating like with vocalists for the first time as well. Um, I had like a bucket ticked with Matthew Herbert remixing one of my singles, who is like an absolute hero for me. And then also the fact that I could like incorporate my visual side of things by drawing for the first time for my releases and doing like all of the artwork,
It's nice.
because drawing has always been like a parallel
Yeah.
love for me
Yeah.
that sometimes was, less obvious and others more so. That was the first time that I sort of, I don't want to say demanded, but when I spoke with the label, I was like, I'm going to do the covers. Like,
It's
I want to do the whole thing. It has to be like, my full identity. And I'm happy that they said yes.
cool.
And yes, that was like that was 360 me,
Well,
essentially.
well done for doing that because that's not always easy to do, and you're stepping outside the box.
yeah. I mean, I see now the cover, and I'm still quite like the whole artwork, and I'm still quite proud of it.
Yeah.
But also my like execution style has changed a lot, like drawing, painting wise. So
Oh,
I would have done it, I would have approached it very differently, but it doesn't matter because that thing sparked also the progress
that's nice. And how
that
do you think
followed.
the electronic music scene is doing right now? Looking at diversity, inclusion, representation. What's your thoughts and feelings on that?
Hmm, that's quite a that's that's a heavy question. I I don't know, to be honest, because I am going out selectively.
Yeah,
Um, but my sense is that things have changed a lot the last 5 years. There was like a very rough shakeup of the scene during the pandemic. Like
uh,
a lot of like middle level artists just disappeared overnight
yeah,
because like trends changed instantly and they couldn't follow the pace for whatever reason. The scene, like the sound changed a lot. The way that people entertain themselves has changed a lot. It has become like very spectacle oriented,
yeah,
like
yeah,
big warehouses and festivals, and like everything is ultra.
yeah,
So clubs are actually suffering,
yeah.
and
Nighttime.
there's a lot of venues that are actually closing down, and that's not a great sign. On the other side, though, there's a lot of DIY stuff happening, which I feel like is showing that there is an alternative, and maybe there was a model that became way too capitalistic, and it needs like a
Specialized.
yes, and it needs to be like shaking up a little bit.
It does.
One thing that's also quite disappointing is that we're like music journalism in general is I don't want to say disappearing, but it's
Struggling.
yeah, it's winning. Like there's a gap there. So there's on the one hand, there's so many wonderful musicians and releases and records and everything that's happening around the world, but at the same time, the outlets are so few.
Yes.
So like the information is buried, um, which yeah, is quite a problem, especially for younger aspiring artists that want to tell their story, and some of them are super talented, and maybe they're not cutting through the noise,
Yeah.
and that can be quite demotivating after a while. So yeah. I think that we're like there's a major reshuffle that's going to happen a couple of next years because also this whole festival bubble
Mhm.
is bound to pop at some point.
Is there's cycles of music. There's things that
Yeah,
go up, they must come down. They will come up, they'll come commercial, they go underground, then they'll
yeah,
come
yeah.
up again,
I mean, pretty much every festival has the same lineup right now.
right? And this is the problem. What do you think for up and coming artists and artist development now? How do you find that for the younger artists, these not just younger artists, these up and coming new talents? Because that's across the board.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very difficult issue right now. Because also like especially if you don't come like from Berlin or London or whatever, if you're not part of like a more uh, you know established scene and you live in like smaller countries or like with like a more tighter landscape, the opportunities to play and perform are way less.
Yeah,
Uh, so let alone being able to cut through your country's borders. First of all, you have to even establish yourself in your own country. Um, on the other hand, however, I see there's a tendency now because of like traveling becoming more expensive and also gigs, etc. Like even for promoters is becoming way more expensive, that there is a refocus on local scenes
mhm,
as putting together lineups and then complementing them with like less headliners from abroad as in the recent past.
agreed.
So definitely there's room there to nurture the local scene and see where it takes you.
Yeah,
I think the community spirit is very, very essential in order for people to grow together.
yeah,
And sometimes this is not like the most usual trait of this scene. Like there's a lot of antagonism because it's a very small pie.
it is.
But I
Everyone
think you can only grow together.
and everyone wants a piece of that pie. But this is
Exactly. Yeah.
everyone, if everyone collaborates and communicates and works together as a group, I think that's more impactful, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I see it even here. I mean, I see the collectives and who are the people throwing parties and in specific sounds that are like in my taste, for example, and they don't even speak to each other. So they see them kind of throwing really great events, but opposite each other,
Exactly.
which really makes no sense
No,
because you're speaking to the same audience. Just communicate better, make make a calendar and everybody pick your own dates and just make sure that everybody's happy, and you're
language.
speaking and grow together, essentially, like build a specific sound or
Yeah.
aesthetic together and just instead of opposite each other.
I love that. And how important has collaboration and community been to you to get you where you are today? Because that's a real important part of it, isn't it? It's a relationship built business.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing because when I grew up, I was part of this antagonistic environment. But that changed in the university when I met with like-minded people. So when we threw our collective together, I mean, with my best friend, we were DJing together, but then we had a bunch of people around us that helped us with the mobile party that we had first launched. And they did everything, like from postering to like flyering to like pretty much inviting people, just like,
Out on the streets and giving out the flyers.
yeah, like pretty much, yes. It was, so everybody had their own roles.
Yes.
And then it started growing. And then you could also find like-minded other cells
Yeah.
that you could collaborate with.
Uh-huh.
And then you could start doing like something bigger and you could split floors or whatever, or do like a longer lineup. So I think it was very crucial to find the people that you could identify with, but still was very dog eat dog. Even then,
Still
it
is
was,
now. Come on.
yeah. Now I now I see that maybe like some of the younger generation, maybe they work more together, but they have less opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
At least in Athens, like the city used to be way more vibrant than it is
London.
right now.
So did London as well. I think we've lost half of our venues, in the
Yeah,
last 10 years. 50% of those venues are gone. That's what's supporting talent and grassroots talent. So I think that
yeah.
really is a problem for all of us across Europe, actually. So thank you for highlighting that with us. But also, I just want to ask you as well, like, you've been in this industry, you've made mistakes, you've learned, you thrived, you survived. How important is self-care and looking after yourself in this industry?
It is very, very crucial. I found out the hard way,
Mhm.
as most people do,
Yeah.
um, because I was also like, partying a lot and touring a lot and like, going the extra mile way too many times. And at some point, the hours start to clock in and you have to take care of your system.
Yeah.
In my case, actually, it started manifesting. It really affected my mental health after a while,
Yeah.
to the point where a couple of incidents happened that led to me even having like panic attacks when I was DJing.
I've had that as well, funny enough.
And that was terrifying.
Mm.
Um, and it really kind of poisoned my relationship with DJing for a while because it became from a thing that was my absolute identity to something that I was almost afraid to do.
Okay.
And it also affected um, the music that I started producing
Yes.
or taking like a long break that was anyway mandated by the pandemic and then refocused to things that actually helped me mentally, which was painting and drawing.
Yeah. Well, I like music and songwriting, but yeah, I find it very similar. Any creative aspect is great for me. If I'm thinking,
Yeah. So like I took that pause. Um, Also it was a forced pause in the sense, I mean, we were all locked in a quarantine. I didn't want to listen to like club music at home. Like it made no sense.
more part of the
So
community, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. So I started like listening to other like to different stuff or like fall back to like my like early favorites, whatever, just kind of like to for things that felt fairly very familiar for my mood.
Yes.
And then I creatively focused more on drawing and painting because it was my first love when I was growing up, and then I put it on the side in favor of music, and
Oh,
then it felt like I could go back to it.
good way around. Mine's music,
Yeah, yeah.
but I love both. I think, as long as you're creative, that's great. And obviously, if the listeners want to connect with you, find out more about your music, they want to collaborate with you, how could they do so?
I mean, socials. I'm on Instagram. I'm on SoundCloud.
Okay.
People can, yeah. My email is there.
I'll even put.
I'm quite open to collaboration in general, but I do like things to be more concept driven
And
these
align
days.
and have them aligned. Your values and your goals should be aligned with each other, right?
Like,
Don't
yeah,
just
yeah, exactly. So I've always been open, especially to weird collaborations.
okay.
Like we put out a record together with fellow Greek artist Larry Gus on Deckmantel, which was the most improbable collaboration ever. We come from so different sonic worlds,
Yeah.
but somehow the culmination of that was very
Magic.
unique.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, and it carries both of our DNAs, and I think we put together like a really great record as an output. So for me, that's more of a challenge than actually sitting down with someone great that has a very similar taste to me. You know,
Step
that's
up.
okay, but I like the twist.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all your time. Now, before we go, we've got 5 minutes left. Do you want to share one of your major wins or successes with us right now before you go?
Sorry.
One of your major wins or successes right now before you go?
Um, right now, I mean, the last year I've focused on two things.
Mhm,
We've put together, there's a team, and we're working on this tool called Crates,
mhm.
um, which is a very important it's a very important, not very important, it's a very necessary tool, especially for me, but also for people like-minded music listeners and fans in a landscape of renting your music from streaming platforms. We've put together an alternative essentially that can let users reclaim how they listen music. So
Wow.
I've put a lot of my energy into that because I really believe in the vision, and I was like even beta testing before I joined the team.
Yeah,
So Craze essentially is a tool that allows you to like listen to all of your scattered music from all of your collections,
yeah,
and then it goes back to like intentional listening and what we were saying also about having patience when you're on a dance floor, for example. It's the same thing as having patience when you're at home as well, and properly listening to stuff and realizing the effort that artists have put into what they've produced,
yeah,
and reclaiming this sense of like enjoying music instead of just quick skips and
yeah.
stuff playing in the background. Um, and there's a whole ecosystem that we're building also, like with curated playlists and highlighting heroes from around the world and specific genres and geographies. So
Okay.
I'm very, very happy to be part of the team, and we're growing, and I want to see where that can take us, when that can take us.
Hope so. That's really that sounds cool because you've looked at a problem, you're trying to solve it. I meet so many people
Yes,
on this podcast, they see a problem, they want to fix it. They're my kind of
exactly. Yeah, and it's a very contemporary issue right now, like especially with what's happening with all of the underrepresented artists and the way that they're not seeing the fruit of the work being probably rewarded. I think we have to shift the narrative, and there's a bunch of other platforms as well that they're trying to do it their way. So I feel like there's definitely like a constellation of like-minded entities that should work together in order to offer an alternative.
absolutely. Well, good luck with everything you've got going on. I really appreciate your time, your energy, your expertise. It's been great speaking to you. And I wish you
Likewise, thank you so much for having me.
it's a pleasure. Please do keep in touch.
I will definitely do so.
Thank you
And I
so
will be keeping an eye on the next installments as well.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Bye.